Hello, beautiful souls. This is Michelle with Upgrade in Progress, and thank you for stopping by my channel. I really appreciate anybody and everybody who's coming by, and thank you to my subscribers. I love each and every one of you. And if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button, and maybe by the end of this, you'll want to also hit the like button. Here's to hoping. I just kind of wanted to stop by today because it'd been a few minutes since I made a video, since I shared anything. One of the things I recognize is that we go through these ebb and flow periods, and January was definitely sort of an ebb period where I found, turning inward more, doing more healing, doing more clearing, doing more changing, doing more transforming. And I think that's kind of what the message was about today, was how we change. How do we even begin? I look around and I see and I know so many people who just stay the same. And that's our comfort zone, I suppose, kind of doing the same thing every day and seeing the same people. I mean, I found that there's this delicate balance between, that comfort and that familiarity, and also needing and wanting and having a desire for something different. And that's where I found my life really taking off, and I guess being the catalyst for my transformation was living this, carving out this comfort zone, this place where it was all familiar and I knew, and I think that's the groove that we get ourselves into. But there was also something deep inside of me that needed and wanted and longed for something new and change, and not knowing really where to begin or how to do that. So the universe kind of made sure that it happened for me. I put my story out on one of my videos, and you can, if you haven't, check that out. This is kind of all, I suppose, a little bit of my story. So I'm coming from and have worked in the counseling field for a long time. I have my degrees in psychology and counseling and human relations. And I realized that I went into that field because that's where I belong. That's where I was most curious in the beginning. But then I recognized that I went into that field because I needed to find out kind of why I was such a round peg, trying to fit into this square hole. And after 50 years, I found out, oh, I'm not supposed to fit in. That's not it at all. I mean, there's a reason why many of us have always felt like we don't fit in, because we're not supposed to. And that's hard to accept in the beginning, because I think society and culture and, our parents and everybody else kind of teaches us, and even the education system, everything teaches us to, be like everybody else and to do what everybody else is doing. It seems like only now or recently are we starting to really embrace authenticity, and I think that's really what I wanted to share and emphasize the most, is that authenticity. Because each one of us, I suppose there's a reason why we each have something as unique as our DNA or our fingerprints, because we're meant to be unique. Each one of us has our own very different story that has very original beginnings. No two people, not even identical twins, have the same experiences. And when I say experiences, I mean, how we think and how we feel and how we process certain things that happen to us. That's what makes us so unique, is going through all of these different experiences and trying to make sense of that. And then, you fast forward and all of a sudden you're 50 going, what did I do wrong? Why is my life falling apart? I don't get it. I didn't get it. I sure as shit didn't get it. I didn't understand why my life was falling apart because I didn't really live a traditional life, but, um, as far as the outside world was concerned, I mean, I was a good citizen, I was a good neighbor, I was a good person, never intentionally did anything harmful or hurtful. Um, for the most part, obeyed the laws, except for maybe the speeding laws, because I think they're more of a suggestion, but just kidding. No, they're laws. I found that out the hard way. Nonetheless, trying to get along and trying to do our thing, and then getting to this place where it's like, now what? And there, my transformation and upgrade began. When everything kind of falls apart and you find your world just swirling down and swirling down and swirling down, and finding times and moments where I literally was like, I don't get it. I mean, I don't even see a purpose. I don't even see a reason for going on. I don't understand. I raised my kid. He's doing great, and I'm proud of him, and he's an awesome man and father and husband, and contributing part of society. And I didn't have a significant other, and I was kind of at this place in my career where I was at one point really loving it, but now all of a sudden couldn't figure out why I wasn't loving it anymore. And what it turned out to be was our soul talking to us and kind of breaking down. And this whole transformation process was about learning and figuring out the programs and the paradigms and the thought patterns and the beliefs that we think we're supposed to follow. They're all kind of tilted not in our favor. And I was talking to someone the other day, and I'd spent many years working with children, in the behavioral health field, and working with parents. And one of the things that I noticed, particularly of men, is that some men feel really safe in expressing themselves authentically, the love that's in their heart for either pets or children. And it started me thinking, and I was complimenting someone recently about being a wonderful father and how genuinely authentic he was in expressing his love for his children. And he quickly stated to me, he thanked me, and he said, but only with them. And meaning, children, the young babies. And it really started me, kind of thinking down this rabbit hole of, that's true for so many people, that they can express their love and silliness and authenticity with babies and with children, and with pets and with animals. And it's because they're safe. When this man walks in and he expresses, oh my God, I love you babies, and his babies aren't threatening. And I imagine if he walked in and said to his wife, oh baby, I'm so glad to see you, maybe she might go, what the hell is wrong with you? And that would bruise his ego. So when he said, only with them, I realized that particularly men really have a hard time being exactly who they are because of the way that they're conditioned, the way that society expects them to be. One of the sayings that I dislike the most is man up. Yes, I can slam that, but I don't want to slam. So let's just think about that for a minute. Man up. What does that mean? That means take charge, take control, don't show emotion, be tough, be strong. But we forget that men are exactly the same as we are emotionally. The only difference is what they're taught early on in life, and how society and others treat them when they do express their true emotions. We don't punish babies and we don't punish toddlers, little boys, when they cry, but we start at that moment to start conditioning them to suck it in, and for no other reason other than social acceptance. And that, my friends, is why there are so many damaged men. There's damaged women too, don't get me wrong, but predominantly men who are angry and exert that power and control so forcefully when they grow up and become men, because they weren't allowed to, and they're living behind this mask. And I really feel bad. I really feel bad for them. And it's time that we start to understand and we start to teach that we are all emotional beings. We are all energetic beings. We are all the same inside. We're just conditioning people and conditioning everything based on the color of the skin and the gender, and the religion and the culture. There's things like machismo out there, and I don't mean, there's other cultures, and I don't mean to like point out any particular culture, but that's just an example of how we really, I think, harm the development of our masculinity and our masculine energy in men by not allowing them to be exactly who they are. And a lot of men, God love you, are starting to heal and starting to let go of that so that they can be in their authentic expression, because that is how we have a healthy society, when people can start genuinely and authentically expressing grief and sorrow and sadness, because there's a lot of it around in the world right now. And if people don't feel safe in expressing those emotions, it gets turned into anger sometimes, and hostility and aggression. And all you got to do is look around and see what's happening. And I'll be honest, one of the things that I had to do to really heal was to turn off a lot of the things that are happening in the world, because I do recognize that everything that we watch and everything that we listen to is part of our diet, and it can help us or it can hurt us. And the news and the programs are designed to kind of pump fear in the system of all of us. And unless we recognize that and start making the changes, then it's really, really difficult. So I'm here to say, if you want to change, if you want to get to your most authentic expression, we got to start by changing the things that we do on a daily basis. So let's look at our habits. Let's look at our routines. Let's quiet down and take a look inside, and see what our heart is saying to us, because these are the times when we're evolving. We hear the word ascension, but it basically means that we're given this opportunity to start evolving, and we are. It is a fast, quickening awakening going on in the planet, and I invite you and I encourage you to just stop and reflect on what is no longer serving you, what is keeping you from your most authentic self, and what is keeping you from expressing what's in your heart, because you are like nobody else. There is nobody in this world like you. You've got the fingerprints and you've got the DNA to prove it. Now we have to show up, and you can prove it by being exactly who you are. Let your freak flag, and I mean frequency flag, fly high, and start to embrace the love. Thank you, my friends, for just joining me on this day. I hope there's gonna be more videos to come. Thank you for tuning in, and if you haven't, hit the subscribe button. Maybe hit the like button if you wish, and leave me a comment on your thoughts. I really want to know what's going on in your mind and in your hearts. I love you, my friends, and I'll see you in the next video.